Hi, and welcome to the webcast series, eCommerce Live. My name is Yaroslava. I'm a senior at Decima Digital. What is an eCommerce Live webcast? We speak with merchants worldwide on how coronavirus affects their business and what they're planning weeks and months ahead. Today we will talk with Arik Nahmany, who will join us from Belgium. It's a very inspiring story because Arik launched his company in 2020. He launched FMCG trading and B2B matchmaking company Alston. So let's find what challenges he faced and what strategies help Alston to stand afloat. Let's jump into the interview.
Arik, can you please tell us a few words about yourself, the story behind your company? Because it's very curious fact that Alston was founded a year ago, and it's more interesting to know how it feels, like how does it feel to start a business in 2020?
Sure. Thank you for having me here. Actually, I'm already 10 years in this business, the FMCG, fast mover consumer goods. It's a big challenge to work in that category, and I really like it. It's interesting. You meet a lot of people. So over the years, I worked with the company, and they were very helpful in letting me do and to give me the freedom to learn the business and to grow up together with them. And then at the end of 2019, just before everything started and the Corona came into our life, we decided to go in separate ways, and I opened Alston. And for me, Alston is about one thing. I want to connect people. They are like buyers and sellers, and usually they have issues to find themselves a good partner. So this is where I come in. Either I do it directly or I'm just doing the introduction between them. Now, 2020, as you know, was very challenging. And I didn't know that when I opened the business. It looks like I'm going into a regular situation, but a month or 2 months later, everything started to close down and I had to adapt. But it was really good because when people started to go inside, I think they looked for, somebody to take care of them. Mm-hmm. And when you go back and you see that you can trust somebody to help you, then you go back, because in times like that, you want somebody that you can trust, and that was really helpful. The ties that I created during these years helped me a lot on 2020.
Okay. And your company located in Belgium, in Brussels. And previously, as we all know from the news, in Belgium, you have a strict limitation due to COVID-19. What is the situation in your country right now?
So right now, almost everything is open except for culture. No cinemas, mm-hmm. No theaters. And of course, the Horeca, hotel, restaurant, cafe, all of them are still closed. I think they're starting to talk about the phase that after the vaccines, what will happen when the vaccines will go inside and people will be able to go outside without fear. Because don't forget, fear is the main issue here. Okay?
Yeah.
So we can go out until 10 o'clock, okay? Just until 10 o'clock. Mm-hmm. And then till 6 a.m. we are supposed to be at home. But it doesn't do harm for my business, because I'm dealing a lot with goods that people need, whether it is food or beverage or anything else that we're doing, cleaning materials. So it is really, it works really great. And as you can see now, during 2020, when people got inside, they started to consume a lot more. So on one hand, people are trying to work from home, which is challenging by itself. But then they need to consume more because otherwise they would have gone outside to their office and then they will go to restaurants. So for my category, it was a really good thing. In terms of what happens now in Belgium, so we can go out, we can travel, we need to keep the rules with the mask and the distancing. But I think it's really not as strict as people think outside, because I've heard that there are countries that people actually stay inside for 1 year now in a row. That's not the case here.
No, you don't have such problem.
No, we need to try to work as much as possible from home. Okay, if we can, we do. That's what we do. But in my category, when it is about food, you have to be there. You have to be either meeting the clients at their places, or with the logistics, they need to get the goods and then control them and then send them back. So being at the office is essential in our profession.
Very interesting, because as you say, you need to meet the clients, you have a logistics. So Alston has a specific business model. You connect different brands, suppliers, buyers, and it's globally. And this process involves many variables like logistic infrastructure, supply chain, manufacturers, and of course people. And plus, as you say, different countries have different rules and social restrictions due to this pandemic situation. So how you deal with all that stuff and how it affected your company?
So dealing with other countries was really challenging. I remember that we already had something that was a deal that was closed, and we were about to ship, and then the border was closed the next day. So what do? You cannot ship it because it's closed, but then you need to do something with the deal. So luckily, everybody understands now that things change from today to tomorrow, from one day to another, and they are not as strict as before. So that is one thing I really like, that both manufacturers and clients are more flexible in understanding of the situation right now. You talked about the chain of supply. That is something that is really, really burning these days. You know that the containers that are coming from China are now much more expensive than before, which affected the prices very high. Then what happened? Companies started to manufacture here internally in Europe instead of going to China, because they understood that first everything was closed, and then the transportation cost is higher now. So why should you go all the way to China? So more and more companies now are trying to find solutions right here, either in Europe or around it, instead of going all the way to China. That is one of the main things that we can see now. In addition, in time, we saw that more and more transport companies are having issues. Now you can see with the Brexit, there was a big mess when they tried to cross the border. Nobody knows what to do. How do you deal with the documents? And even though they're talking about it for the last 3 years, nobody was ready. Nobody. It was just a big mess, and still is. When we talk to our partners in transportation, and they need to clear customs and other stuff to send the goods, they are confused, just as everyone, and it takes longer to do it. And sometimes there are more, costs that were not predicted. So the game is changing really fast, and you really need to adapt.
Yeah, it's no doubt that coronavirus changed everything that we knew about customers, that we knew about our partners. After all these months of lockdown and social distancing, and how the pandemic altered your customers exactly? how, as I understand, they become more patient and they can wait for something.
So if before we noticed that price was the king, everybody was asking about price. Now availability is not less important. Can you deliver it? This is something that before was not as important as today, but now it is really important. So having solid partners that can deliver what they say is super important if you want to go in that business. Clients really appreciated that you're open and transparent and you deliver what you say. Otherwise, they need to explain to their clients and the entire chain suffers exactly where the weak link is. And we try to be the strongest link in the chain so everything will work. Otherwise, we don't have the win-win situation and nobody is happy when they're not happy. And then there are no more deals, of course.
Okay. I read the latest McKinsey research regarding consumers' behavior, and they predict that the return to pre-pandemic levels will be only in 2024, 2023. It means that all consumers, clients, partners rely on digital, and for everything from grocery essentials to healthcare. So digital adoption has become a must-have strategy in every company in the future and especially today. So what tools and digital strategies do you use for your company, for sales, for marketing, for communication with your clients and partners? Maybe you have trusted logistic partners, etc.
So if we're talking about marketing, I think that the biggest star that is now rising is LinkedIn. It is something that, they've been doing it for several years, but I think since the pandemic began, it's really an interesting marketplace and people find each other and they do lots of deals through LinkedIn. So that is a really good place to start with. Other than that, you can continue doing your campaigns with tools like MailChimp to send email campaigns or any kind of other campaigns. You can work with your site either with WordPress, because WordPress can with its add-on it allows you to do also either campaigns and to measure everything that's going on your site, which is really important because then you can see who came inside and what time and how long have they been there, and all this statistic helps you to realize how you can continue working with the digital. Now, of course, it's the safest thing to do. If before we used to meet people and we asked them and we wrote everything, nothing like that today. People are social distancing. They're using Zoom or Teams, and they're using their digital platforms. And it's not just, LinkedIn. You can see that on YouTube and Twitter, all out, and Facebook, of course. They use all these platforms all together. Sometimes they're using some kind of tools to gather everything into one and to send their message at the same time. And of course, we need to talk about TikTok. It depends on the ages that you want to attend. Well, TikTok is not right for me because I'm going for
you're in B2B, you are much enterprise level.
Exactly, and I need to meet other companies and not the final client. But I see, because one of our projects is creating a new vegan cookies brand, and we saw that if you really want to do something, then you have to go there. And if we are, for a moment, if we can talk about that, you can see how much influencers have gained power. Yeah, so if you want, if you're thinking about strategy and you want to go to the young people, my advice is take a teenager in your team and just let him criticize what you're doing market-wise, because we think as an adult and we think business, we don't always know what they want at these ages. So try to take somebody or use the help of an influencer at that age, because they know how to talk to these clients. But if you're like me in the FMCG, then it is completely different. It is not the same way that you need to approach people. People will think, I see now that politicians started using TikTok. I find it a bit funny, because these are teenagers. They're not going to vote for you now, but still they chose to do it because they want to be everywhere. Should we be everywhere? Maybe. I'm not so convinced for now. And we need to be focused on the channels that we use.
That generate sales, not only awareness.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, what conclusions have you made from the current situation?
So the first thing is, and I think the most important, is diversity. If you want to succeed, you need to diverse when you choose your partners. Either it is your clients or it is your suppliers, and then we go into the way you want to market yourself. So diverse with the tools that you use, and try not to be fixed into one thing, because we saw what happened to even retail chains that based all their sales in the shops. Now they're going more and more online. When a year back, when people couldn't leave the home, they wanted to order home, so the supermarkets will deliver it to them, and they were not ready. The entire system crashed. But now they have better systems and they know how to do it. So going online is super important. Yes, the point of sale is still important, but as you said, we still have maybe a year or two until things will go to the way they were before the pandemic. But now they need to adapt. So diversity, adaptation, flexibility, these are important things to anybody that wants to go into business.
Yeah, so it can be a great advice for future merchants. And
yes,
what
and don't be afraid. Please don't be afraid.
You're a great example.
Don't be afraid. I mean, yes, the challenges are big, and you might have some failures while you try, but don't give up. Just try. And once you see something that blocks you, just find a way to overcome it. Don't let it be the most important thing now. Don't think that now everything is done. No, just keep on. Continue searching for a solution and seek for help. People will help you. You need to trust people, and you need to give them the option to help you. It always works.
It's so beautiful words. Thank you.